There is a widespread, growing anxiety that artificial intelligence is causing cognitive decline. We look at our reliance on large language models and fear we are actively losing our ability to think critically. We are caught in a strange paradox as modern workers. Studies show that AI can drop our task completion times by up to 40%, making us incredibly fast. Yet, at the exact same time, our independent reasoning feels degraded. Recent observational research seems to back this up. These descriptive studies consistently find a direct correlation between heavy AI use and a measurable drop in critical thinking and analytical reasoning. But we have to look closely at what these studies are actually observing in the wild. They are watching users type minimal prompts, treat the AI like an all-knowing oracle, and blindly accept the resulting outputs without a second thought. Achieving raw productivity and faster throughput does not equate to achieving cognitive growth. Finishing a task faster doesn't mean your brain got any better at the work. That reveals a fatal logical flaw in the current scientific narrative about cognitive decline. These studies are actually testing our default, unstructured, and completely passive methodology of using AI rather than the software itself. Cognitive scientists call this suboptimal cognitive offloading. Instead of smartly reallocating our mental resources, we inappropriately hand over the intellectual heavy lifting to the machine. In this passive state, we surrender the very standard by which the work is judged. By skipping the verification of claims, we lose the internal benchmark required to know if an output is actually correct. These studies reveal that our current methodology incentivizes cognitive laziness by structurally bypassing the human brain. To understand exactly what we are missing when we use AI passively, we have to look at the biological baseline for how human intelligence naturally develops. Decades ago, educational psychologist Lev Vygotsky established the concept of the zone of proximal development. This describes the necessary gap between what you can accomplish independently and what you can achieve with structured support. Passive AI acts as pure substitution. When the machine hands you the final answer, it shoots past the developmental zone. You skip the cognitive struggle required to learn. We mistake the machine's eloquence for reasoning depth, while our internal monitoring shuts down. True learning only happens in the friction of that gap. When passive AI erases the struggle, cognitive development stops. What we need to turn AI from a shortcut into a cognitive scaffolding tool is productive cognitive dissonance. We need a structured system that forces you to confront conflicting information and reason your way through it. The Haya-Rechlin architecture injects required friction into workflows. First, you assign the AI a distinct cognitive role, like a researcher. Second, you command the AI to capture dissent. Finally, the human acts as the ultimate arbiter, resolving conflicting data before output is accepted. Structuring the interaction this way surrounds the AI with human-led friction. It forces your brain out of passive acceptance and into the highest modes of learning, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. This structural friction points toward a much older computing concept known as hybrid intelligence. Early pioneers like Douglas Engelbart sought human-machine augmentation, building partnerships where machines handled processing so humans could reach higher conceptual ground. In modern practice, hybrid intelligence is a governed, combined capability. It is a partnership that vastly exceeds what either the human or the software could achieve alone. This chart outlines the human enhancement quotient. Cognitive science is building frameworks like this to evaluate the quality of collaboration, looking past the final document to measure behavioral dimensions like trust calibration and perspective integration. Intellectual success now depends on the quality, ethics, and agility of the governed partnership. Whether AI rots your brain or upgrades it is entirely dependent on your method of interaction, not the underlying software model. Stop treating AI as an oracle that gives you answers. Start treating it as a sparring partner that tests your thinking, surfaces counterarguments, and demands an audit trail of your reasoning. Because the act of evaluating information is the act of learning. Outsourcing that evaluation to a machine is a voluntary